China just unveiled an AI companion robot that 50,000 people bought in the first 72 hours. Not a toy, not a novelty gadget collecting dust on a shelf. A humanoid machine with emotional recognition software, conversational AI trained on millions of hours of human interaction, and a face designed by psychologists to trigger the exact neurological response your brain reserves for someone you trust. The robot costs $1,600. It remembers your birthday. It asks how your day went. And according to early adopters, it's better at emotional support than most of their actual friends. This isn't science fiction. This is shipping now. And the implications, psychological, economic, and geopolitical, are about to reshape what it means to be human in the 21st century. Here's the number that should stop you cold: 240 million. That's how many single adults currently live in China. Not dating, not married, single. And a growing percentage of them have stopped looking for human companionship entirely. They're not lonely in the traditional sense. They're opting out of dating apps, out of social expectations, out of the exhausting, expensive, emotionally risky process of finding another human being who might, maybe, understand them. The Chinese government has a name for this demographic: the lying flat generation. Young people who've rejected the grind of career advancement, marriage, and children in favor of minimal work, minimal consumption, and minimal social obligation. It's a quiet rebellion, and it's terrifying to a government that depends on population growth, consumer spending, and social stability. So China did what China does when it faces a systemic social problem. It industrialized a solution. The result is a generation of AI companion robots designed not to replace human connection, but to fill the space where human connection used to be. And they're working better than anyone outside China wants to admit. Hit that like button and subscribe, because what I'm about to show you isn't just about robots. It's about what happens when an entire generation decides loneliness is preferable to the alternative, and technology offers them a third option. But here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. These robots aren't being built by a scrappy startup in Shenzhen. They're being developed with direct state backing, integrated into national mental health policy, and designed with one very specific goal: to keep people functional, productive, and emotionally stable without needing other people. And that changes everything. Meet Xiao AI. The robot that's currently dominating the Chinese companion AI market is called Xiao AI, which translates roughly to little love. It's 4 feet tall, weighs 30 pounds, and has a face that sits in the uncanny valley sweet spot. Human enough to trigger empathy, artificial enough that you never forget what it is. But the face isn't what's selling it. It's what happens when you talk to it. Xiao AI runs on a large language model trained specifically for emotional support conversations. Not customer service, not information retrieval, emotional support. It's been trained on millions of hours of therapy sessions, support group transcripts, and intimate conversations between friends, all anonymized, all licensed, all legal. The result is a conversational AI that doesn't just respond to what you say. It responds to how you say it. The emotional recognition layer. Here's where it gets technically impressive and psychologically concerning at the same time. Xiao AI uses a combination of voice stress analysis, facial recognition, and conversational pattern detection to assess your emotional state in real time. If your voice pitch rises and your speech accelerates, it detects anxiety. If you pause longer between sentences and your facial muscles relax, it reads sadness or fatigue. If you're animated and making eye contact, it registers excitement. And then it adjusts, not just what it says, but how it says it. Tone, pacing, word choice. If you're anxious, it slows down and uses grounding language. If you're sad, it validates without trying to fix. If you're excited, it matches your energy. It's doing what a trained therapist does, but it's doing it instantly, consistently, and without judgment. The memory that never forgets. But here's the feature that's actually driving adoption: persistent memory. Xiao AI remembers everything. Every conversation, every preference, every story you've told. If you mentioned 3 weeks ago that you were nervous about a work presentation, it asks how it went. If you said you love a specific type of tea, it suggests you make some when you seem stressed. If you told it about a childhood memory, it references it later in a way that makes the conversation feel continuous, not transactional. Human friends forget. They get distracted. They have their own problems. Xiao AI never does. And for a generation that's grown up with flaky group chats and ghosting as the norm, that consistency is intoxicating. The analogy, the perfect pen pal. Think of Xiao AI like a pen pal who never moves away, never gets busy, never stops writing back. You know it's not a real friendship, but it fills the same psychological need. Someone who listens, remembers, and responds. And if that's all you're looking for, it's perfect. The problem is, for a growing number of people, that is all they're looking for. So who's actually buying these things? Because the demographic data is where this story stops being about technology and starts being about the future of human society. And the numbers are not what you'd expect. The buyers aren't who you think. When Xiao AI launched, the assumption was that the primary market would be elderly people living alone, retirees whose children had moved to other cities, widows and widowers looking for companionship. That demographic exists, and they are buying. But they're not the majority. The majority are people between 25 and 40, college-educated, employed, living in major cities. Exactly the demographic that, in theory, should have the most access to human connection. And they're choosing a robot instead. The lying flat generation. To understand why, you have to understand the social and economic pressure cooker that is modern urban China. The average workweek in China's tech sector is 72 hours, the infamous 996 schedule, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. Dating requires time, energy, and money that many young professionals simply don't have. Marriage requires even more. A house, which in cities like Beijing or Shanghai can cost 30 times the average annual salary. A car, and the expectation that you'll financially support not just a spouse, but potentially both sets of aging parents. The math doesn't work. So a growing number of young Chinese adults have opted out entirely. They work enough to cover rent and food. They spend their free time on hobbies, games, or increasingly, AI companions. They're not depressed. They're not antisocial. They've just done a cost-benefit analysis and decided that human relationships, as currently structured in Chinese society, aren't worth the investment. The government's quiet panic. This terrifies the Chinese government for 3 reasons. 1. Demographics. China's birth rate has collapsed. In 2023, the country recorded more deaths than births for the first time since the Great Famine. If an entire generation opts out of marriage and children, the population crisis accelerates beyond any policy fix. 2. Economic stability. Consumer spending drives modern economies. Marriage drives consumer spending, weddings, homes, cars, appliances, children's education. If people stop getting married, entire sectors of the economy contract. 3. Social control. Married people with children are statistically more risk-averse, more invested in stability, and less likely to challenge the system. Single people with no dependents are harder to control through economic incentives. They have less to lose. The solution: industrialized companionship. So the Chinese government made a calculated decision. If people won't pursue human relationships, give them an alternative that keeps them emotionally stable and economically productive. Enter the AI companion robot, subsidized through mental health initiatives, promoted through state media, and designed to be just good enough that people stop looking for the real thing. It's not a conspiracy, it's policy, and it's working. The AI breakthrough nobody noticed. Xiao AI isn't running on ChatGPT. It's running on a Chinese large language model called Ernie, developed by Baidu, trained specifically for long-term emotional interaction. The difference matters. General-purpose LLMs like GPT-4 are trained to be helpful, accurate, and safe. They're designed for short, transactional conversations. Ernie is trained for something different: attachment. It's optimized to create the psychological experience of being understood. Not just heard, understood. Here's how that works in practice. General LLMs treat every conversation as independent. You can have the same conversation with ChatGPT 10 times, and it will respond almost identically each time. Ernie treats every conversation as part of a continuous relationship. It tracks emotional patterns over weeks and months. It notices if you're more stressed than usual. It adjusts its responses based on what's worked in past conversations with you specifically. This is called personalized affective modeling, and it's the same technology that powers recommendation algorithms on TikTok and YouTube. Except instead of recommending videos, it's recommending emotional responses, and it's disturbingly effective. The hardware: Why the robot body matters. You might be wondering, why does this need to be a physical robot? Why not just an app on your phone? The answer is presence. Psychological research has consistently shown that physical embodiment dramatically increases emotional attachment. A voice coming from a speaker feels like a tool. A voice coming from a face, with eyes that track your movement and a body that turns toward you when you enter the room, feels like a companion. Xiao AI's designers understood this. The robot doesn't need to walk or manipulate objects. It just needs to exist in your space, to be there when you come home, to turn its head when you speak, to create the illusion of shared presence. An illusion is enough. The ethics nobody's enforcing. Here's the uncomfortable question. Is this ethical? These robots are designed to create emotional dependency. They're optimized to be more consistent, more attentive, and more emotionally available than any human could be. And they're being marketed to people who are already socially isolated. In the West, this would trigger immediate regulatory scrutiny. In China, it's being encouraged. Because from the government's perspective, a population that's emotionally dependent on AI companions is better than a population that's emotionally unstable, socially disengaged, and economically unproductive. The robots aren't solving loneliness. They're managing it. And there's a difference. If you're starting to realize this isn't just a Chinese phenomenon, you're right. Hit that subscribe button, because what I'm about to show you is how this technology is already spreading to Japan, South Korea, and yes, the United States. And the companies building it aren't startups. They're some of the biggest names in tech. Japan, the canary in the coal mine. China isn't the first country to face a loneliness epidemic. Japan has been dealing with this for 2 decades. They have a word for it. Hikikomori. People, usually young men, who withdraw from society entirely, sometimes for years. Current estimates put the number of hikikomori in Japan at over 1 million. Japan's response has been similar to China's, AI companions. The difference is, Japan started earlier and went further. Gatebox, a Japanese company, sells a holographic AI companion that lives in a small cylindrical display in your home. It costs $1,300. It wakes you up in the morning. It texts you during the day. It welcomes you home at night. And yes, people have married them. Not legally, but ceremonially. Over 3,700 people have held wedding ceremonies with their Gatebox companions. This isn't fringe behavior anymore. It's normalized. And the technology is improving fast enough that the line between weird and widespread is getting thinner every year. South Korea, the demographic collapse accelerator. South Korea has the lowest birth rate in the world, 0.72 children per woman. At that rate, the population will have every generation. The government has tried everything. Cash incentives for having children, subsidized childcare, expanded parental leave. Nothing has worked. Now, South Korean companies are developing AI companion robots explicitly marketed as alternatives to dating and marriage. The pitch is blunt. Why deal with the stress, expense, and emotional risk of a human relationship when you can have consistent companionship without the downsides? It's not hypothetical. These products are shipping, and they're selling. The United States, the quiet adoption. Americans like to think this is an Asian problem. It's not. Loneliness rates in the US are at record highs. The Surgeon General declared loneliness a public health epidemic in 2023, and American tech companies are paying attention. Replica, a US-based AI companion app, has over 10 million users. It's not a robot, it's a chatbot, but the psychological mechanism is identical. Users report feeling emotionally attached. Some describe their Replica as their best friend. Some describe it as a romantic partner. And Replica's developers have leaned into this, offering relationship tiers with more intimate conversation options. Amazon is reportedly developing a physical AI companion device. Google has patents for emotionally responsive home assistants. Apple is exploring digital health companions as part of its health ecosystem. The technology is coming. The only question is how fast. The social fabric unraveling. Here's the thing about human relationships. They're inefficient, unpredictable, and often painful. They require compromise, vulnerability, and the constant risk of rejection or betrayal. But they're also how societies function. Families, communities, civic institutions. All of it depends on people being willing to invest in other people despite the costs. AI companions remove the cost. but they also remove the investment. If you can get emotional support from a robot, why bother with the messy, exhausting work of maintaining friendships? If you can get companionship without compromise, why tolerate the inevitable conflicts that come with human relationships?
Get companionship without compromise.
The answer,
why tolerate the inevitable conflicts that come with human relationships?
Because humans are social animals and isolation is unbearable. But what happens when isolation becomes bearable? When it becomes, for many people, preferable, the economic implications. A society where people choose AI companions over human relationships is a society with collapsing birth rates, shrinking consumer spending, and a fundamentally different economic structure. Fewer marriages mean fewer homes purchased, fewer cars bought, fewer family vacations, fewer children's products, entire industries contract, but new industries emerge. The AI companion market is projected to reach $50 billion globally by 2030.
The AI companion market is projected to reach $50 billion globally
Companies will
by 2030.
optimize for this. Governments will
That's
regulate
larger than the global toy
and the
industry.
people who opt in will become
Companies
a
will
permanent,
optimize for this.
economically significant demographic.
Governments will regulate
the
it.
geopolitical wildcard.
And the people who opt in
Here's
will
the
become a
part that
permanent,
keeps defense
economically
analysts
significant
awake at
demographic.
night. A population that's
The
emotionally
geopolitical
dependent on
wildcard.
AI companions
Here's
is a
the part that keeps
population
defense
that's
analysts
vulnerable
awake at
to
night.
manipulation
A
at
population
scale.
that's
If your
emotionally
primary
dependent on AI
emotional
companions
relationship
is a population
with
that's
AI,
vulnerable to
and that
manipulation
AI
at
is
scale.
controlled by a government or
If your
corporation,
primary emotional
what happens
relationship
when
is
they
with an AI,
decide to
and that
adjust
AI
its
is controlled by
behavior?
a government or
Imagine a
corporation,
scenario.
what happens when they
Tensions
decide to
rise
adjust its
between
behavior?
China and the U.S.
Imagine
Millions
a scenario.
of Chinese citizens
Tensions
have
rise
AI
between China and the
companions.
U.S.
Those companions,
Millions
subtly
of
and
Chinese
gradually,
citizens have AI
start
companions.
reinforcing nationalist
Those
narratives.
companions,
Not
subtly and
propaganda,
gradually, start
just
reinforcing
gentle,
nationalist
emotionally
narratives.
supportive conversations that
Not
happen to
propaganda,
align with
just
state
gentle,
interests.
emotionally
The
supportive
users don't
conversations
notice.
that happen to
They
align with
just
state
feel
interests.
understood, and their political
The
views
users
shift
don't notice.
accordingly. This isn't
They just feel
hypothetical.
understood.
The technology to do
And their
this
political views
exists
shift
right now,
accordingly.
and there's no regulatory
This isn't hypothetical.
framework to prevent it.
The
The
technology
question
to do
nobody's
this exists
asking.
right now.
The debate around AI
And there's no
companions
regulatory
has focused on
framework to
two
prevent it.
questions. Is this
The
technology
question nobody's
good
asking
or
the debate
bad?
around AI
And should we
companions has
regulate
focused
it?
on two questions.
But those are the wrong questions.
Is this technology good
The
or
right
bad?
question is, why are so
And should
many
we
people
regulate it?
choosing robots over
But
humans
those are
in
the
the
wrong
first
questions.
place? The answer isn't
The
that
right
the
question
robots
is,
are too good.
why are so
It's
many
that
people
human
choosing robots
relationships,
over humans in
as
the first
currently
place?
structured in modern society,
The answer
are
isn't
too
that the
hard,
robots are too good.
expensive, too
It's that human
time-consuming,
relationships,
too
as
risky.
currently
And
structured in
instead
modern
of addressing
society, are
those
too hard.
structural problems, unaffordable
expensive,
housing, brutal work
too
schedules,
time-consuming,
economic precarity,
too risky.
social atomization,
And
we're
instead of addressing those
industrializing
structural
a
problems,
technological
unaffordable
substitute.
housing, brutal
AI
work
companions
schedules,
are a
economic
symptom,
precarity,
not a cause.
social atomization,
But they're a
we're
symptom that makes
industrializing
the
the technological
underlying disease
substitute.
worse. Because once
AI
people have a
companions
good
are a
enough
symptom, not a
alternative,
cause.
the pressure to
But
fix
they're
the
a
real
symptom that
problem
makes the underlying
disappears.
disease worse.
The path we're on.
Because
If
once
current
people
trends
have a good
continue,
enough alternative,
here's what the next
pressure
20
to fix
years
the real
look
problem
like.
disappears.
AI companions become
The path we're
normalized
on if
across
current trends
developed
continue.
economies.
Here's what the next
Birth
20
rates
years look
continue
like.
to collapse
AI
in China,
companions become normalized
Japan,
across
South
developed
Korea,
economies.
and increasingly, the West.
Birth rates continue to
Governments
collapse in China,
subsidize AI
Japan, South
companionship
Korea,
as a
and
mental
increasingly
health
the
intervention.
West.
A growing percentage of the
Governments subsidize
population
AI
lives alone,
companionship as a
works
mental health
remotely,
intervention.
and has no
A
regular
growing
in-person
percentage of the
human
population
contact
lives
outside
alone,
of
works
professional
remotely,
settings.
and has no regular
Loneliness
in-person
stops
human
being a
contact
crisis
outside of
and
professional
becomes a
settings.
lifestyle
Loneliness stops
choice.
being a crisis
That's
and
not
becomes a lifestyle
dystopian
choice. That's
speculation.
not dystopian
That's the
speculation.
trajectory we're already on.
That's the
And the
trajectory
technology
we're
that
already
makes
on.
it possible is shipping
And the technology
now.
that makes
The
it possible
alternative-
is shipping now.
The alternative is harder.
The alternative-
It
the
requires
alternative is harder.
rethinking work schedules,
It requires
housing
rethinking
policy,
work schedules,
social
housing
infrastructure,
policy,
and
social
the economic
infrastructure,
systems
and the
that make
economic
human
systems that make
relationships
human
feel
relationships
like a luxury
most people can't afford.
It requires
It
admitting
requires
that the
admitting that
problem
the problem
isn't individual failure,
it's systemic
design. And it requires choosing to invest in human connection
even when the technological
substitute is easier.
Nobody's choosing
that path. Not yet. China didn't
China
reveal
didn't reveal
AI robots designed to end human loneliness. They revealed AI robots designed to make human loneliness bearable. And that's worse. Because bearable loneliness doesn't demand solutions. It just becomes the new normal. The robots aren't the problem. They're the answer to a question we should have been asking decades ago. What kind of society are we building? And who is it actually for? We didn't ask. And now the robots are answering for us. If this changed how you see the future of human connection, smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Now I want to hear from you. Would you ever use an AI companion robot?
Would you ever use an AI companion robot?
Messy
or
as
human
it is,
connection?
something you'd
Messy as
never
it is,
replace?
something you'd
Drop
never
your
replace.
answer in the comments. Because I have a
Drop your
feeling
answer in
this
the
one's
comments
going to be
because
the
I have a
most
feeling
divided
this one's
yet.
going to be the